In this short tutorial video, I will show you how to bake our high poly texture onto our low poly mesh. So as you can see here, we have quite a difference as far as the mesh count. Here, this particular mesh is just around 1,000 tries, whereas if I were to open up the high poly version, we're looking at 76,000. So, quite a big difference, and we want to remain this high quality information, but bake it onto a small mesh count so it's optimized for gameplay. Now, what I'm going to do is I have my model is overlay exactly where my unwrapped low poly model is. So I'm going to export out each one of these individually. I will first export out my high poly shield FBX. So I'm just doing it on my other screen real quick. And then once I have that export, just make sure when you are exporting, you are also going to be wanting to export just that one item. So I'm going to now export out my, now I'll show you here, I have selected items or objects. So now I'm going to export out my low poly shield. And next, with that being done, I'm going to go ahead into my Substance Painter. I want to open up new. And by now you guys should understand how to create these. So I'm just gonna open up my low poly version, and with the new project. So now here I have my low poly version, and again I want to have my high poly information projected or baked onto this with normal map. So what I can do is I'm gonna go into my texture settings. I'm going to scroll down until I see bake normal map or bake mesh maps. Otherwise, I can also go to edit bake mesh maps there as well. And when doing this, I'm just going to, for now, I would recommend you try a few different of these parameters out. But initially, I'm just going to real quickly go through here and select my high poly shield. And so I could go through each one of these. But for my under the common, you'll want to select your high poly definition map, which is my HP shield. And initially, I'm just going to leave these all the defaults. And if I were to have a bunch of things, I could do a naming convention, anti-aliasing, put up a little bit. That'll help kind of keep those sharp edges not too jaggedy. And then we have a couple different options here for our other maps, but for now we're just worrying about our bake map. So I'm just going to go ahead and bake selected texture, and you'll see it'll start to apply that material right onto my texture. So now if I were to scroll in, you see we have the wood grain in there. The edges look a little bit softer, as well as you see there's some surface damage on the metal part right there, as well as we have plenty of baked geometry for the designs there. And if I were to go in here and show you the wireframes, so I'm just going to open those wireframes real quickly. You will see it is the same old mesh we had prior, but now we just have all that information projected onto it. So by doing this, you really can open up the possibilities of having much higher mesh counts, but on a much lower mesh object. So that's really kind of the fundamental understanding of baking maps in Substance Painter. Again, you have that high poly information that you model or sculpt, or it may be, and then you're projecting that high poly onto the low poly surface and UVs, and using that to kind of hold all that information there.